Hi guys, it's TT here. Welcome to another episode of Unaccounted Life where we account for people who are still missing. Last week we talked about Asha Degree, so if you haven't seen that episode, feel free to check it out. This week we will be talking about Amy Bradley. I feel like some people have heard about Amy Bradley's story. Let's talk about the woman who vanished from a cruise ship while, vacationing with her family. I mean, what really happened to Amy? This is one of those cases where there's so many questions and like less answers. Because when I actually heard the story, it's one of those cases where I couldn't really figure what happened out. There are so many theories. I think even the documentary I think I watched on Netflix was kind of helpful. Not helpful per se, but it was like there were so many theories that still didn't bring any answer or didn't even bring any back. She was a 23-year-old woman, and this was in 1998. She had just recently graduated. She was a lifeguard. She was so athletic. So the family attended different events, activities in the ship. And, Amy and her brother actually, they were, hanging at you know, a nightclub. They were dancing. According to like, what I've heard, they were dancing actually in a nightclub. And they returned to the cabin around 3:40 a.m. And Amy sits on the balcony, right? And her father actually said that he saw her there around 5:30 a.m. So, and approximately by 6 o'clock she was gone, which means like that was like a 30-minute interval from 5:30 to 6 o'clock. Like, what could have happened? And the thing is that they didn't hear anything. There was no sound, nothing. And which would make me think that, if I saw someone at 5:30, and that means that I'm still kind of awake between 5:30 and 6. Well, for me, I know some people are deep sleeper, which would make sense. But I think personally, if I woke up at 5:30 and I saw someone by 6, I'm not gonna be in a deep sleep. So I'm trying to figure out, like, did she just disappear without anyone hearing anything, without her making any sound within that 30-minute, interval? That was like a lot of, search. Like, they searched for her, they searched the old ship, you know, the ship security was notified. But the passengers eventually were allowed to leave, while the search continued, because at a point it remained, controversial, and they just had to let people go at the end of the day. There was the accident theory. Did she fall over? Like, did she accidentally fall over? I don't know. It's a theory. And to be honest, I would like to know, like, what you think. Do you think that, she fell overboard? I want to know what you think. There was no mention of eyewitness per se, and there was nobody. Nobody was found. Like, her body wasn't found in all of this. Like, no matter like all the searches that they did, they didn't find anything. They actually didn't find anything. I also know that, when I was watching on Netflix, there were like some sightings of ours, and people said, oh, they saw her here, they saw her there, they saw her there, and they still haven't found Amy. So, do you think they saw her? Do you think they did? You think they did see her? And also about falling, there was no evidence, like no conclusive evidence that she fell. There was no concluding evidence that proved that she actually fell. The reason why this case actually matters is because, one, there has been no evidence proving anything, like no definitive evidence in any way. There is no confirmed suspect anyway. I know that in the Netflix series, they were talking about, I think, this dude that worked on the ship, and they kind of suspected him. But again, there is no confirmed suspect anywhere. There is no confirmed sightings. Everyone that keeps saying that they saw her, we still can prove that they saw her, right? Because you can actually see people and think that people that look like people that you know, and then you think that that's the person. But you cannot, if it's not confirmed, it's not confirmed that she was seen. As of right now, her family is still seeking answers. And I think, again, the documentary that I watched on Netflix, I think 2025, kind of like created more awareness to this, which is great. That's one of the things that actually motivated me to like talk about this case as well, because I think it's still kind of fresh in my head, talking about this, which is good. Look at 1998. That's like what, 28 years ago, I believe. So it's important to keep creating awareness so that, she's not forgotten. 27 years later, Amy's still missing. It was just a, a blink of an eye within 30 minutes. And I feel like someone knows what happened, because a whole human being who willingly sat on a balcony after having a great day or a great night partying would just disappear. It just doesn't make sense to me in any way. So I think that someone out there knows something. Amy still remains unaccounted for. And I believe that someone knows something out there. If you have any information regarding Amy's disappearance, please, reach out to your law enforcement to help the case. I will see you guys on the next episode. And as always, I want to know your theory. I want to know what you think. What do you think? Do you think that it was an accident? She fell overboard? Do you think that this has nothing to do with her being in an accident and someone else did something? Just tell me. Let me know what you think. I want to know what you think in a comment. If you also have someone that you want me to talk about, feel free to, comment, send me DMs and whatnot, and I'll be happy to talk about it, because the main purpose of this is to create awareness to everyone who is still missing out there. And I will catch you guys on the next episode. Please stay safe and take care of yourself.